Hi everyone, in this video I'll be discussing the general defenses. So in every cases what happens is when there is a violation of some right by the defendant to the plaintiff, then the plaintiff will bring an action against the defendant. But what happens is the defendant also have the right to take some defense. So it says that when a plaintiff brings an action against the defendant would be liable. And the defendant, what he does is to avoid his liability, what he takes is the plea of defense. That is all about this chapter. So in this chapter, I'll be discussing some of the general defenses. First is Volenti Non with Injuria or the defense of consent. Second is plaintiff the wrongdoer or and the third is that inevitable accident and the fourth is act of God. Fifth is private defense, mistake, necessity and statutory authority. Let's discuss this one by one. Okay, let's see the first defense, voluntary non-fit injuria or the defense of consent. So when the plaintiff he voluntarily agrees to suffer a harm and is in this case is not allowed to complain, okay? And the consent is served as a good defense against him. So it says that, so in this case it says that if plaintiff by himself or he voluntarily if he agrees to suffer the harm, then the defendant is not liable. He can take the defense. Okay. Okay, let's take an example where when you invite somebody to your house and you cannot say that he has committed offense of trespass because you have invited him. So that is one case of voluntary non-fit injury because you are giving the consent to that person to come into your home, and consent can be in the form of express or implied. Okay, let's see a case law which is Hall versus Brooklands Auto Racing Club. In this, the defendant was not liable for the injury which was caused to the plaintiff because it was an implied consent. Okay, so this detailed video I have put the link in the description. You can see it in there. Now let's see the criteria that is to be fulfilled for an implied consent. So the first is the consent must be free. There should be no coercion, no consent must not be obtained by fraud, and a person should not be compelled to give, or no coercion should be made to that person for giving or making a consent. And mere knowledge does not imply consent. Not simply giving the consent is necessary, but the plaintiff should come to know the risk what he will suffer, and he has to agree to suffer such harm. And the next point is that the act must be same to which the consent has been given. So giving consent for one act and doing some other act by the defendant, that is not possible here. The act must be same to which the consent has been given is necessary.